Acceleron Learning, life experience accelerated. On deck right now, legal basics and the implications of divorce. Hello and welcome, I'm Chris Mykoski. It is often best to seek resolution and reconciliation in the face of a potential divorce. Preserving a marriage, particularly if children are involved, will have a major impact on the lives of everyone involved. Barring abuse or dangerous situations, many marriage counselors recommend waiting 1 year before pulling the trigger on divorce. As soon as you're contemplating a divorce, consider waiting a year. You can always call it quits, but once you pull that trigger, it's over. If divorce is inevitable, there are 3 main steps you should take. First, assess the situation. Come up with a realistic, rational plan for moving forward with separate lives. Next, consider the financial impacts. Personal health, financial stability, and familial bonds are each affected by the legal exercise of divorce. Finally, a couple will need to determine the terms of their divorce. This may include child custody, child support, visitation rights, spousal support, and the division of marital assets and liabilities. Mutual agreements are ideal. However, given the emotions inspired by divorce, couples often end up in a costly war zone. If divorce is inevitable, it is vital to be prepared. Mutual agreements are ideal for resolving disputes. Failure to plan a cooperative effort could lead to results that are damaging to both parties. Child support payments are made by the non-custodial spouse when ordered by the court. Again, this is something that is best resolved between parties without the help of the courts, if at all possible. The amount of child support, when calculated by the court, is determined by a formula that varies by state. The needs of the child are also factored in, as is the ability of the non-custodial parent to support him or herself. Also considered is the standard of living that the child would have enjoyed had the parents not divorced. Courts also look at considerations for any other children the non-custodial parent may have from prior relationships. Child support payments will continue until the child turns 18 or graduates from high school. If the child is emancipated, child support is discontinued. Child support also ceases upon the death of the child, but may be extended if the child should suffer a long-term disability. In many cases, the courts adhere to antiquated laws and standards when figuring child support. This leads to thousands of cases where the non-custodial parent is actually unable to pay unrealistic amounts. The courts are also slow to recognize changes in the payer's ability to pay. This could be due to job loss, for example. On the other side of the coin, thousands of single parents, mostly women, who are entitled to child support from ex-spouses are not receiving any. Why? Because of the clever maneuvering by the ex-spouse. These so-called deadbeat dads may be wealthy or earning an adequate income to pay support, but find legal or quasi-legal ways to avoid payment. Tactics such as working for cash, quitting a job when located by the authorities, getting legal payment reductions with false information, and many others are used by these criminals. These circumstances lead to nightmare scenarios on both sides of the equation. A South Carolina man who faked his own death to get out of paying child support was recently arrested and now faces more than $30,000 in back child support payments to his 2 children. Johnny Sterling Martin walked off of a work detail in 1979 while serving a 1-year jail term for failing to pay child support. He later had a relative call the Columbia, South Carolina Family Court to report that Martin had been killed during a bar fight in Alabama. Police said Martin has been living under his real name in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina all this time. Even more startling, he's been married a total of 4 times, twice since his so-called death in 1979. Johnny Martin is the ultimate deadbeat dad, so said Lexington County Sheriff James Metz. Police found Martin after they received a tip from one of his ex-wives.